When he was about 6 months old, he had a brown patch on his skin. And when we went to the health visitor, they said that they thought it was eczema. So when we went to the doctors next, we said, oh, we think this is eczema. And they kind of said, yeah, it could be, and just left it at that. When he was about 7 months old, he had a blister on the brown patch. And at this point, he probably only had one big brown patch. And they said, oh, we think it's chickenpox. But he only ever had one blister. So then I went and saw another doctor, and they said he's not got atypical skin, and referred us to a dermatologist in Canterbury. When we went and saw Dr. Fuller, she rubbed this brown patch immediately, and it blistered. And she said, he's got mastocytosis.
Mastocytosis.
Yes.
Now, what is mastocytosis?
Mastocytosis is a build-up of histamine. It's a mast cell disease in anyone, basically, and his form is called urticaria pigmentosa.
Is this really common, or are you telling me something which is really quite rare?
No, it's really quite rare. There's a website, mastokids.co.uk, and basically the dermatologist put me onto that website, said to go away and read it, and made me another appointment. At that point, we went home and read it and was very scared because it was just all very medical, lots of things about anaphylactic shock and things like that, and really not an understanding for us. So when we went back to her, she explained it in a bit more detail. And basically, when he has these brown patches, which are called hives on his body, and they basically can blister, and it can be caused by numerous different things. So it's basically anything that will release histamine into his body can cause a reaction and cause him to have either more hives or blister.
So what sort of things are we talking about? I see you've got a piece of paper there which is a list as long as your arm. So give us some of the things that people will have heard of, some of the common things.
High levels of exercise, heat, cold, friction, sunlight.
Seriously, high levels of exercise will bring him out in hives?
Yes. And some children, Tommy luckily only has a mild form of it, we hope, and this won't progress, but some children can't exercise at all because that can send them into anaphylactic.
But hang on, he's 4 years old, and typical 4-year-old boys are running around like a mad thing. It's lovely, warm, sunny day outside. We're on the Easter holidays. He's got a trampoline in the garden. He must be bouncing up and down on that. Yeah. That brings him out in hives.
It can do, yes. And even if he's been to preschool, which he goes to a couple of times a week, they may ring me and say, actually, he's got a blister on his neck. And they just ring to let me know that he's obviously been doing, whether it's exercise, it could be food, it could have been anything that's had a trigger and made him blister.
And so what do you do then at that point when you see the blister?
We don't at the moment, because basically every morning he's on like an antihistamine, and then if he's having a really bad phase of cells or reactions, which he is at the moment because the weather's warmed up, he'll also have like Benadryl twice a day as well to basically, it's an antihistamine to stop everything going into his body.
And how long do they reckon this is going to last for?
In most infants that have it, or children that have it, they grow out of it by puberty. However, in a very small number of cases, it goes into an adult form of it, which is called systematic mastocytosis, I believe.
So what is the kind of situation up until sort of 12, 13? What sort of things has Tommy got to be careful about?
The food he eats, the activities that he does. So, for example, if ever he jumped into a pool of cold water, he could have a really severe reaction. Touch wood, he's never had one yet, but he blisters and has it and has like red flushes. Anaesthetics, if ever he needs an anaesthetic, it needs to be a pre-planned one because he can't have what we would call a normal anaesthetic. So, and he can't have things like Anadine. The only form of pain relief he can have is like Calpol or paracetamol. There's nothing else that he can have. So food-wise as well, we watch his diet. Last year we made kind of a food diary so we knew what he reacted to. Things like strawberries seem to have a reaction to him, so we don't allow him to eat strawberries and things like that.
Is it really restrictive, the diet?
His isn't too bad. Some children on the website, you read they can't have milk or anything, any kind of dairy sometimes. Basically for us it's things like grapes, strawberries seem to have a reaction. Obviously he can't have alcohol anyway, but anything with alcohol in it he can't have, so we kind of just monitor it that way.
Do you think he's missing out if he can't, run around and he can't eat certain things? Do you think he's missing out, or do you think he doesn't realise yet?
He calls them his reds, and he knows if he's got severe reds, like at the moment he knows because he's very irritable, they itch him like crazy. And the Benadryl, yes, it takes some of it away, and his medication, but it doesn't take all of it away. And his cream that we use every day doesn't take it all away. So yes, he does miss out to a certain extent because I keep him back and I say, no, you can't do that. But he's very good. He knows what he can and can't do, and generally he'll come and sit down if he's getting too hot and flustered. He knows automatically. But he's very lucky. Some children can't do anything like that. Tommy can still jump on his trampoline. He can still run around. He still takes part in sports day. And hopefully that will continue and it won't get any worse.
Do you think it's getting better at the moment? I mean, if this started around 6 or 7 months old, he's obviously got more active anyway because he's learnt to walk and all of that sort of thing. Do you think that it's getting worse now as he's getting older, or do you think actually it's manageable and it's not getting as bad?
I thought last year was a lot worse, but going into this year, he's already probably had 30 or 40 little red spots that look like he's been bitten, which are reactions, and we're only in April. So it worries me that this year is going to be a really hard year for us and for managing it. But then he is more active again this year than he ever has been. So it does worry me that he is potentially getting worse. The actual brown patches or the cells that you can see, the hives you can see, don't appear to be getting worse. It's the reactions that he's having in terms of the spots that he gets seem to be getting worse, definitely.